magazine lived up to its name. The nominees and winners are chosen by members of the Worldcon. The World Science Fiction Convention is its fancy name. And that was first held in 1939. Each year it goes to a different city around the globe. That's why it's called Worldcon and not a single country con. This year is Norwescon 3, which is down in San Antonio, Texas. Hugo Awards, always a highlight of the Worldcon since 1955. The award trophy is always the same. It's a rocket ship, because rocket ships are awesome. The base, however, changes from year to year. People get, like, the Worldcon committee puts their own spin on it, so they can spin things. So fun. Who didn't like tops when they were kids? Come on. So the nominees that we are going to, the three of us, yeah, no, we've been over how awesome spinning is. Were decided by popular vote from the members of ChiCon 7, which was the 2012 Worldcon, which was in Chicago. Lone Star Con, which is the 2013 Worldcon, which is this year, which is crazy to me, but and LonCon, which is the 2014, which is in London, which is next year, because that's how numbers work. A total of 1,343 valid nomination forms were submitted. 1,329 of them were online, and 14 were in paper. So that is impressive that there are still, you know, people murdering trees. And 468 of them came from ChiCon 7. 716 of them came from Lone Star Con 3, and 159 came from LonCon 3, because that's why you guys came, is the numbers break down. So we will, a list of the top 15 nominees in each category, along with the number of nominations received, will be released after the Hugo ceremony on Sunday, September 1st, 2013 at Lone Star Con 3. And because charts make everything more official, we have a chart, which, granted, is very hard to see from where you guys are, but we should have handouts right there on that table. You can get them. It just shows the number of ballots per year. As you see, in 2009 or so, it reached its just about peak, and it has been steadily growing ever since then. So, with luck, we'll keep that trend up. You guys are all going to vote, I know, because you're awesome, and awesome people vote. So now I think we are ready to start reading off the nominees. And, oh, yes, I suppose I should introduce you. This is Jay Lake. He is going to help us announce. He's super cool, writer. And then Sonia, I'm sorry, Lyris. She's also going to be helping. She's also super awesome.
In the category near and dear to my heart, as a former winner of the John W. Campbell Award for Best New Writer, not a Hugo Award, it says here, this is an award for the best new professional science fiction or fantasy writer of the previous 2 years, sponsored by Dell Magazines and administered by the current Worldcon committee. Those of us who've actually won the Campbell call it the Cheese Bowl, because the award is a little wall plaque that looks sort of like a third-place bowling trophy, and it's suitable for slicing cheese. It's a wonderful, important award, but they don't put a lot into the trophy itself. And mine actually says on the bottom of it, not a Hugo. Because when I won it at Norwescon in 2004, they said the words "not a Hugo" about 17 times during that segment of the presentation. And somebody wrote it on the back of a fortune cookie slip and taped it to my award, where I have kept it ever since. The awards this year, with 476 nominating ballots, are Zen Cho, Max Gladstone, Murr Lafferty, Stina Leicht, and Chuck Wendig.
Next up is Sonia.
Hey, y'all. Howdy. That's my Lone Star reference. I've never done this before. And the nominations for Best Fan Artist with 293 nominating ballots. Did I read that part too?
Yes, please. Quick.
An artist or cartoonist whose work has appeared through publication in semi-prozines or fanzines or through other public display during the previous calendar year. And the nominees are Galen Dara, Brad W. Foster, Spring Schoenhuth. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Yes, you did.
And then I win. No. Maureen Starkey and Steve Stiles.
Yes. All right, so now I'm going to tell you the nominees for the Best Fan Writer, which is any person whose writing has appeared in semi-prozines or fanzines, or in generally available electronic media during the previous calendar year. So the nominees are Mr. James Bacon, Mr. Christopher J. Garcia, Mr. Mark Oshiro, Tansy Rayner Roberts, and Mr. Stephen H. Silver. And because you guys haven't had enough of me, I'm going to read the next one too. This one is for Best Fan Cast, which is any generally available non-professional audio or video periodical devoted to science fiction, fantasy, or related subjects by the close of the previous calendar years that has released 4 or more episodes, at least one of which appeared in the previous calendar year, and does not qualify as a dramatic presentation. So, the nominees are the Coded Street Podcast by Jonathan Strand and Gary K. Wolfe, Galactic Suburbia Podcast by Alyssa Kranzenstein, Alexander Pierce, Tansy Rayner Roberts, and Andrew Finch. The SF Signal Podcast by Patrick Hester, John DiNardo, and JP France. SF Squeecast by Elizabeth Baer, Paul Cornell, Shannon McGuire, Lynn M. Thompson, Catherine M. Valente, and David McCone Chase. And finally, Starship Sofa by Tony C. Smith.
Nominees for Best Fanzine with 370 nominating ballots. This is any generally available, non-professional, periodical publication devoted to science fiction, fantasy, or related subjects that by the close of the previous calendar year has had 4 or more issues, or the equivalent in other media, at least one of which appeared in the previous calendar year, that does not qualify as a semi-prozine or a fan cast, and we're not done, and that in the previous calendar year met neither of the following criteria. Paid its contributors or staff monetarily in other than copies of the publication, and, think not more, and was generally available only for paid purchase. And the nominees are Banana Wings, edited by Claire Braley and Mark Plummer. The Drink Tank, Chris Garcia and James Bacon. Elitist Book Reviews, edited by Steve Diamond. Journey Planet, edited by James Bacon, Chris Garcia, Emma J. King, Helen J. Montgomery, and Pete Young. And SF Signal, edited by John DiNardo, J.P. Franz, and Patrick Hester.
The category of Best Semi-Prozine with 404 nominating ballots. This is any generally available non-professional periodical publication devoted to science fiction or fantasy or related subjects, which by the close of the previous calendar year has published 4 or more issues or the equivalent in other media, at least one of which appeared in the previous calendar year, which does not qualify as a fan cast, and which in the previous calendar year met at least one of the following criteria. Game cards do not actually talk. 1, paid its contributors and or staff in other than copies of the publication, and 2, was generally available only for paid purchase. And the nominees are Apex Magazine, edited by Lynn M. Thomas, Jason Sizemore, and Michael Damian Thomas. Beneath Ceaseless Skies, edited by Scott H. Andrews. Clark's World, edited by Neil Clark, Jason Heller, Sean Wallace, and Kate Baker. Light Speed, edited by John Joseph Adams and Stefan Rudnicki. And Strange Horizons, edited by Neil Harrison, Jed Hartman, Britt Mandello, Ann Owumayela, Julia Rios, Abigail Nussbaum, Sonia Tuffy, David Nagdeman, and Rebecca Cross.
All right, next we have Best Professional Artist, which has a much less complicated intro text, which is just really nice at this point. It's an illustrator whose work has appeared in a professional publication in the field of science fiction or fantasy during the previous calendar year. We have Vincent Chong, Julie Dillon, Dan Dos Santos, Chris McGrath, and John Picasso.
And Best Editor, long form. The editor of at least 4 novel-length works primarily devoted to science fiction and or fantasy, published in the previous calendar year that do not qualify as works under 3.3.8 Best Editor short form. I'm glad I don't write these. And the nominees are Lou Anders, Sheila Gilbert, Liz Gorinsky, Patrick Nielsen Hayden, and Tony Weisskopf.
In the category of Best Editor Short Form, the editor of at least 4 anthologies, collections, or magazine issues, or their equivalent in other media, primarily devoted to science fiction and or fantasy, at least one of which was published in the previous calendar year. The nominees are John Joseph Adams, Neil Clark, Stanley Schmidt, Jonathan Strahan, and Sheila Williams.
All right, next we have Best Dramatic Presentation Short Form, which is any television program or other production with a completed running time of 90 minutes or less in a medium of dramatized science fiction, fantasy, or related subjects that has been publicly presented for the first time in its present dramatic form during the previous calendar year. First, we have Doctor Who, The Angels Take Manhattan, written by Stephen Moffat, directed by Nick Curran, and that's from the BBC Wales. Next, we have Doctor Who, Asylum of the Daleks, written by Steve Moffat, directed by Nick Curran again, also from BBC Wales. Third, we have, in a shocking twist, Doctor Who, The Snowmen, which was also written by Steve Moffat, but they got a different director, who is Saul Metzstein, and that was produced in the BBC Wales. Now we have our first non-doctor, which is Fringe, Letters of Transit, which was written by J.J. Abrams, Alec Kurtzman, Roberto Orsi, Akiva Goldsman, J.H. Wyman, Jeff Pinkner, and it was directed by Joe Capella, and that was produced by Fox. Finally, we have Game of Thrones Blackwater, which was written by George R.R. Martin and directed by Neil Marshall. It was created by David Benoff and D.B. West, and was made by HBO.
In the category of Best Dramatic Presentation, of which Doctor Who does not comply, also known as long form, 787 nominating ballots. Any theatrical feature or other production with a complete running time of more than 90 minutes and any medium of dramatized science fiction, fantasy, or related subjects that has been publicly presented for the first time in its present dramatic form during the previous calendar year. The Avengers. Screenplay directed by Joss Whedon, Marvel Studios and Paramount Pictures. Cabin in the Woods. Screenplay by Drew Goddard and Joss Whedon, directed by Drew Goddard. Mutant Enemy Lionsgate. The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey. Screenplay by Fran Walsh, Philippa Boyens, Peter Jackson, and Guillermo del Toro. Directed by Peter Jackson. Wingnut Films, New Line Cinema, MGM, and Warner Brothers. The Hunger Games. Screenplay by Gary Ross and Suzanne Collins. Directed by Gary Ross, Lionsgate, Color Force. And Looper. Screenplay and directed by Rian Johnson, Film District, Endgame Entertainment.
All right, now we have the Best Graphic Story, which is any science fiction or fantasy story told in graphic form appearing for the first time in the previous calendar year. First we have Gransville Bete Noir by Brian Tabolt with Dark Horse Comics and Jonathan Cape. Then we have Lock and Key, Volume 5, Clockworks, written by Joe Hill, illustrated by Gabriel Rodriguez from IDW. Then we have Saga, Volume 1, written by Brian K. Vaughan, illustrated by Fiona Staples from Image Comics. Schlock Mercenary, Random Access Memorabilia by Howard Taylor, colors by Travis Walton from Hypernode Media. Finally, we have Saucer Country, Volume 1, Run, written by Paul Cornell, illustrated by Ryan Kelly, Jim Bronxton, and Goran Sedvaka from Vertigo.
The category of Best Related Work. Any work related to the field of science fiction, fantasy, or fandom, appearing for the first time during the previous calendar year, or which has been substantially modified during the previous calendar year, and which is either nonfiction or, if fictional, is noteworthy primarily for aspects other than the fictional text, and which is not eligible in any other category. The Cambridge Companion to Fantasy Literature, edited by Edward James and Farah Mendelsohn, Cambridge, UP. Chicks Dig Comics, a celebration of comic books by the women who love them, edited by Lynn M. Thomas and Sigrid Ellis from Mad Norwegian Press. Chicks Unravel Time, women journey through every season of Doctor Who, edited by Deborah Stanish and L.M. Miles from Mad Norwegian Press. I have an idea for a book, the bibliography of Martin Harry Greenberg, edited by John Helfers, The Battered Silicon Dispatch Box, and Writing Excuses Season 7 by Brandon Sanderson, Dan Wells, Mary Robinette Cowell, Howard Taylor, and Jordan Sanderson.
And in another rare Doctor Who free category, we have Best Short Story. 662 nominating ballots. A science fiction or fantasy story of less than 7,500 words. And I will note there are only 3 nominees in this category because no other candidates received 5% of the ballots in this category per Section 3.8.5 of the World Science Fiction Society Constitution. The nominees are Immersion by Elliot de Bodard, Clarkesworld, June 2012. Mantis Wives by Kij Johnson, Clarkesworld, August 2012. And Mono no Aware by Ken Liu, The Future is Japanese, Viz Media LLC.
And we are now on to Best Novelette, which is a science fiction or fantasy story of between 7,500 words and 17,500 words. First we have The Boy Who Casts No Shadow by Thomas Old Huvelt, Postscripts Unfit for Eden. Fade to White by Catherine M. Valente. Billy, you guys should be up here. Published in Clarkesworld, August 2012. Next, The Girl Thing Who Went Out for Sushi by Pat Cadigan, published in Edge of Infinity. Next, In Sea Salt Tears by Shannon Maguire, which was self-published. Finally, Ratcatcher by Shannon Maguire, published in A Fantasy Melody 2.
In the category of Best Novella, a science fiction or fantasy story of between 17,500 and 40,000 words. After the Fall, Before the Fall, During the Fall, Nancy Kress, Tachyon Publications. The Emperor's Soul by Brandon Sanderson, Tachyon Publications. On Red Station Drifting by Aliette de Bodard, Immersion Press. San Diego 2014, The Last Stand of the California Browncoats by Mira Grant, Orbit. And The Stars Do Not Lie by Jay Lake, Asimov's October-November. Asimov's October-November 2012.
Yeah, I'm kidding. And finally, the Big Kahuna category, Best Novel, 1,113 nominating ballots, a science fiction or fantasy story of 40,000 words or more. 2312 by Kim Stanley Robinson from Orbit. Blackout by Mira Grant from Orbit. Captain Vorpatrill's Alliance by Loic McMaster Bujold from Bane. Red Shirts, a novel with 3 codas by John Scalzi from Tor. And Throne of the Crescent Moon by Saladin Ahmed, Dawn.
So there you go. Those were all the nominees for this year. Be sure that you all vote for your very favorite. Read and watch and experience all of the works. We have some fun facts about the Hugos. If you're interested, you can come on up, take a look. A breakdown of the ballots, the categories, some interesting fun facts. Everyone loves fun facts.
How fun are they?
Super fun. Like on a scale of 1 to fun. Hugo, the Hugo voting ballot will be available soon at the Lone Star on the Lone Star website. Only Lone Star Con 3 members are eligible to vote, so you should all register for that convention. Online voting will use your existing Lone Star Con 3 pin. The deadline is 11:59 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. There we go. I didn't know what the D stood for. On Wednesday, July 31st, 2013, the 2013 Hugo voter packet will be released in early May, and winners will be announced at the Hugo Award ceremonies on Sunday, September 1st, 2013 at Lone Star Con 3 in San Antonio, which you should all go to. And then we've got just a whole bunch of information about the con. So yeah, thank you all for coming. I don't think I'm forgetting anything.
I think we've covered it.
All right, thank you all for coming.
No, I forgot something.
Oh, you forgot something.
I have some printouts of the nominees here. Not very many, but should you want to peruse them in detail.